Alrighty, hello again, VC and other record fiends. Uncle Roddus here again with yet another video. Slight change of tact this time. I'm going back to some random shelf picking. The amount of new stuff coming in should be slowing down a wee bit now for a bit because I've been pretty crazy on it for most of this year so far, and I've got some other bills to pay. So better get that sorted out. So what I've done is I did do some random CD shelf picks videos a while back. What I'm going to do is something similar, but I've got quite a lot of vinyl now since then, and I'm going to pick. My partner will go through and pick some random vinyl and random CDs, and I'll be listening to those. Also, while I'm picking these out, I'll be adding them to my Discogs, which is part of the reason I'm doing this. Just try and get as much of my collection on Discogs as I can. It's going to take quite a while, especially for stuff that's not already listed, which means a bit of painstaking work. So let's get stuck into it. First of all, which I might leave that in the bag because it's a pain in the arse. First of all, this is a new album that's just come in recently. Nick Raven, Love and Lomography. This is a New Zealand album by a New Zealand artist, and it's kind of released on a thing called Custom Made Music. You can see that. It's kind of like a private press in some ways. There's just two sheets of cardboard, front and back. That is the cover. It's not actually a sleeve cover, and then there's a printed sheet, kind of about for A5 size inside with the lyrics and stuff on it. This guy is kind of like indie pop, lo-fi, folk influence with a touch of blues. Really, really good. Really good. I love this album. I've had it 3 or 4 listens. I bought it through his Bandcamp page. He was a little bit slow in getting it away. He had some hold-ups, so just to be on the nice side, he sent me a CD version of the same album. Plus he also sent me this, which is an EP from earlier on with the first track off the album, Butterfly High, plus 3 other tracks on it, so that's a little EP. So that was pretty cool. I've only got a limited time on this camera and I've got a bit to get through, so I'll be pretty quick. I had a bunch of Rattle CDs arrive over the last few days. Rattle, as I've heard mentioned before, Rattle Records is a New Zealand record company, mostly put out CDs. I have got a couple of albums come out, which I've shown before. They're kind of like the ECM of New Zealand. This is one of their new ones playing in the background. As a matter of fact, it's this one here, Tania Nelly. I can't pronounce that. Anyway, she's Greek, so I'm not quite sure what the New Zealand connection is, apart from the fact that it's been released on Rattle. This isn't jazz this time, it's more contemporary type music, world music, don't know what you'd call it. It does have quite a jazz feel to it though, just listening to it. So this actually arrived today, it's my first listen. So there was that one, and then there was a bit of a cock-up when 2 of the CDs arrived. I ordered 4 CDs and 2 of them arrived without CDs in the cases, and so I emailed Steve Garden at Rattle Records, and he was quite shocked actually, and said it was quite extraordinary the fact that I got 2 CDs without any covers. But he actually sent me an additional CD as a sorry thing. So he sent me another one of Tania's CDs. This is an earlier CD, an improvised piece of bunch of songs, improvised music for piano and wind instruments. Had a quick listen to this at lunchtime, and it's quite nice. And then the other one that came that didn't originally have a CD is this one called Small Holes in the Silence. Norman Meehan, Hannah Griffin and Hayden Christolme. Now this is a similar album to another one that I got earlier on, that this was done earlier in the piece. This is 2015. Actually the other one was 2015, so they must have done a couple of these. So what they've done with these albums is they've taken some New Zealand poetry by in particular a guy called Bill Manhire, who's, I don't really know much about New Zealand poetry, but his name is certainly familiar to me. So they've got a whole bunch of poems by various James K. Baxter. I knew him. He was quite a famous poet, from one of our first famous poets. Taken the lyrics and put them to some nice kind of jazz-inflected pop music. I mean, it's quite laid back, mellow, but it's quite beautiful actually. I really enjoy it. And the other album they did was even better than that one, to be honest. And then the other two that arrived earlier in the week, this one here, I hope you can see these okay. Ace Tone, Ron Sampson, Neutrino Funk Experience, and this is very funky. This is really early 70s jazz funk style of music, and it's really good. Love it. And this one here is Ruben Bradley. Can't pronounce the name of the CD on the front there, to be honest. Whatever it is, Rising. This is his third album. I've got two other CDs that I picked up at his gig that he played here a couple of weeks ago. It was really good. Really, that was a trio. He's a drummer, and it was drums, bass, and saxophone. Really nice, really good gig. Right, so that's all my new arrivals. So getting on to my random picks from the shelf. So these are the records I'm going to be listening to for the next couple of weeks or so. You know, it's about pulling stuff off the shelf that I haven't listened to much or listened to in a long time. I mean, you know, I guess we all, us big music collectors, we all know and have this experience of buying a lot of music and stuff gets listened to once or twice and put on the shelf and then kind of forgotten about and not picked up, mainly because there's so much new stuff coming in, or because it maybe didn't really hit the spot the first time or the first couple of listens. So it's good to go back through the collection and do that, and as I said before, part of it is for me to get my stuff up on Discogs. So a lot of the stuff has been shown before, not so much the CDs but definitely the vinyl. So we'll pick up with this one, Delaney Davidson. This is Devil in the Parlour, of course, yes. And there's 6 live tracks that he did. This is kind of a self-release kind of thing as well. This is actually limited edition. I've got number 82. I'm not quite sure how many it's limited to. That's pretty cool. Actually, I might take them out of the covers just in case there's too much reflection. This is a compilation that I picked up very earlier on in my second bout of vinyl collecting. Thunder Before Dawn, Volume 2. There are 3 volumes of this back from the late 80s, 1987, Virgin Records. And Soweto street music, I guess, really nice. Great rhythms, kind of jazz mixed in with it. I really like it. It's really cool. Here is a absolute classic in its genre. NWA, straight out of Compton. Had this originally on vinyl back when it first came out. Picked this up as a reissue just like earlier on this year. I'm been collecting a sort of Blue Note when I find it. We don't find much Blue Note stuff here second hand. What I have been doing is buying a lot of the Blue Note reissues, which you guys who watch my videos regularly will probably remember seeing. I showed a whole heap of them. I've probably got about 40 or 50 of reissues. But this one here I picked up second hand recently. It's a newer Blue Note from 1970. Thad Jones, Mel Lewis. It's a bit of a big band thing. Yeah, it was recorded and issued in 1970. This is an original copy, I think, from what I can tell. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's not something that I'm really big on, but it's not bad. And the last vinyl piece for this video is this one here, Eberhard Weber, Colors, Little Movements is the name of the album. Eberhard Weber Colors must be the name of the group. This is an ECM 1186 from 1980. Yeah, I really like this. I've like the Blue Note. I've picked up quite a lot of ECMs over the last 18 months. Probably another 40 or 50 of those in my collection there as well. Pretty much most on vinyl, but most of them are from the early 70s to the early 80s. And I love the ECMs. Most of them have been really good. So it's nice to get into that. So the random picks from the CD pile for this for this next couple of weeks. Now the blue stickers are actually my stickers that I put on them. These are just to let me know that I have listed these releases on Discogs. This is the Jamie Saft Trio. This is the very first volume of John Zorn's Book of Angels, Volume 2. Book of Angels, Book 2. Masada Book 2. First volume. This is a piano trio. This is a stunningly good album, a stunningly good jazz album, and I just can't get enough of it. It's fantastic. More John Zorn. These are the ones that my partner has picked off the shelf in a random order, so she doesn't know her way around my collection particularly well at all, and so she was just going from shelf to shelf picking stuff out. John Zorn Filmworks number 20, XX, Shalom, no, some Jewish name I can't pronounce. John Zorn's Filmworks, especially the last 10, I mean, what did he go up to, 25 volumes? He's sort of stopped making them now. The latest stuff from 25 back down to maybe 15, no, more than that, 10. It's probably his most accessible music. There's a lot of Masada, a lot of Jewish sounding music, a lot of great jazz, but apart from the very first volumes he did, which were a little bit more extreme for the Japanese animated films and stuff he was doing, that was a bit more harder going. But yeah, if you're not a John Zorn fan but knowledgeable, but you want to start collecting some of his music, the latest Filmworks are really the good place to start. This is another New Zealand band. I've shown this before, in Emerald City. This is their second album, the fourth. This is fantastic CD, post-rock, instrumental, whatever. It's a stunning CD, and I love it to bits. Got something I haven't listened to for a long time, The Fall. This is a compilation, Hip Press and Camarads. I'm not sure the original release date. It says 1988 on here, so I knew most of the songs on here that I used to have either on single or on albums. There's a few B-sides and singles and stuff, and I think a bit of stuff off around about the Hex Induction Hour album time. This is a various artists compilation. Get it the right way up. This is the In Kraut, and this is the first volume. I think there were 3 volumes that I have of it. I think that's all they did. Pretty cool German jazz beat psychedelic music from the 60s, early 70s. So a lot of them were really novelty hits. They're not real psychedelic, but they're very, they got a real sort of 70s beat, funky beat, 60s late funky beat to them, quite danceable. A lot of the guys that were playing the music were actually in big jazz bands and were a lot older people who'd been playing around for quite a few years, and they were kind of making these novelty tracks to try and get it with the in crowd. Alright, Roy Buchanan, I think this is his first album. This is one of those ones which, as I said, I buy stuff, I listen to it once or twice, it ends up on a shelf, and I don't listen to it again for a long, long time, and that's one of them, and that's a great album. It was nice to revisit it, quite impressive. This is a classic, of course, Bob Dylan. The first 3 songs on this are just absolutely stunning, mind blowers. Blowing in the Wind, Girl from the North Country, Masters of War. Karina is also another favourite off that album. Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, Kicking Against the Pricks. This is an album of covers, for those who don't know. Haven't listened to it for ages, again, but it's one of my more favourite Nick Cave. I don't have a lot of Nick Cave, I've got a few, but I don't have a lot. It's quite dark, takes a wee bit of getting into. I like The Birthday Party, I do have one of the early ones which I love to bits. But anyway, bit of Frank Zappa she pulled off the shelf for me. This is a double album of live stuff from the 1988 tour, Make a Jazz Noise Here. Again, this is one I hadn't listened to for a long, long time. And yeah, really stunning. And I know it's a very digital sounding recording, but it's so clean and clear. And finally, this one here, she picked out of my very small classical section. This is modern stuff. Thomas 80s. He's quite a young fellow. He was born in 1971. So this is called American Prophecy, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff. It'd be kind of nice to listen to this. This is something I picked up and not really played a lot. And finally, I've got quite a few CD box sets and vinyl box sets now as well. So I asked Lynn to pick a random box set off the shelf, and I don't know how random this is, to be honest, because Bruce is playing here in the new year for the first time in Christchurch, and we're really looking forward to that, and we're going to go and see that. So the collection, 1973 to 84, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 albums that he put out from that, during that time period. We know them all, don't we? These are not in order. Born to Run, Darkness on the Edge of Town, The River, Nebraska, two earliest ones, Wild, The Innocent and the E Street Shuffle, and Asbury Park. I like these two the best, actually, to be honest. I really do. These are very complex musically. I think they're really cool. I really enjoy them. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the other stuff. He did get a bit darker. And then this one here, we all know this one. I mean, probably one of the biggest albums ever put out. To be honest, when it came out, I absolutely hated it. I really did. It was all over the radio. A lot of my mates were into it. You know, just every hour you'd hear a track off it, and really, I was a punk. I was into my punk and my 50s, 60s garage rock, punk, and you know, the mainstream stuff that was getting hammered on the radio. I really didn't get into it. I mean, there are a lot of classics I do like now, but you know. But I do actually really like that album now. It is a good album, and it's one that Lynn and I can both get into. So, so there you have it. Random CD picks for this session. This is, as I say, I'm going to be doing this. I'm not sure what the time scale is going to be. It will depend on how long it takes me to get each of these groups of CDs and records listed back on Discogs, and then and to actually get to listen to them all a couple of 3 times, just to give myself some familiarity with them. And it's nice to pull stuff out of your collection that you haven't listened to either at all. But it's surprising, there are CDs in my collection that I have never actually played, although they're quite rare, or stuff that's probably only been played once and stuck back in the shelf. So kind of cool to revisit that. So that's me for another video. See you.